Hello, Grapperinos, and welcome to another exciting episode of Probably Next Week on Raw. I'm Bryon, and once again joined by Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Yeah, is this the season finale, Brian? Because I thought we said we are gonna
Oh yeah,
reset every Mania. So yeah, this is the last probably next week on Raw of the season.
yeah.
Hooray.
How does it feel? How does it feel?
I guess we can. I haven't really prepared anything. I mean, I guess we can give our thoughts on how Raw has been this past, I guess, season. You know, if you count a season of this show from being from WrestleMania to WrestleMania. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely been kind of mid. It hasn't been helped obviously with the main heel faction, being decimated by injury. That certainly hasn't helped a whole lot. And I think that they've just kind of had to build, like I've been saying for weeks, they just had to cobbled together, storylines, because their main, driving storyline of the show just kind of fell apart with all the injuries. So,
Yeah, they don't even have like a backup angle or whatever. They're just banking on division for at least most of last year, and even I would say probably this year as well. So they don't really have a backup angle in case like division kind of goes out. Like who do you even push now? I guess.
Well, you had five guys in the division, right? You had Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, right? And the for 3 out of 5 of those guys to go on the injury list, I mean, I don't know if you really planned for that, or you even plan like a backup for that. I guess
Sure.
you could just pull a WCW and just shoehorn other guys in, which definitely could work. Kind of what they did with the Judgment Day, where when Liv went down, they sort of shoehorned in Roxanne, right? And it worked out to an extent. So it can work. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just kind of fell apart. I really think that they probably should have kept Seth in the Vision. If he was going to show up at Mania, because that would have at least given him something better to do than fighting Gunther randomly. So
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Now that I think about it, the whole Seth Rollins versus Gunther match kind of seems like it has no purpose, considering Rey Mysterio is now okay for some reason. So there you go. Let's just put him in this 6-man Intercontinental Championship ladder match. So there you go. I will say though that Raw at least has brighter spots than SmackDown. At least this season. I mean, we have the rise of Obafemi. I think that was great. We have the continuation of the whole El Grande Americano, although you could probably say that AAA has more of a play on that than Raw. Um, what else? I guess. Well, John Cena has been on a couple of Raws. I'm not sure if he's been on SmackDowns. So I think John Cena last year, that could be a bright spot, I guess, depending on whether or not you like the guy. Um, yeah, I'd say that Raw has more bright spots than SmackDown this season, but at the same time, I do agree with you, Mike, that Raw has been pretty mid since the last WrestleMania season, and now it seems like this year they're banking more on celebrity hype than last year, which is not that great. But again, I guess that's what happens when you rent out the same venue for this year from last year. So yeah, I mean you gotta do something about that, I guess, and the ticket prices and all that, I suppose. But well, I mean. I guess as we head into the new season, or I guess after Mania, I guess what is the ultimate sort of like wish that you would want Raw to do better at, Mike, as we kind of head into the rest of the year, into next year? Like, do you want Do you want like the main event scene to be better? Do you want there to be stronger mid card angles? Do you want there to be some call ups that are surprising, or at least somewhat interesting? Like, what is one thing that you wish that Raw would be better at come the rest of the year and the new year?
Um, I think the best. I mean, I don't really follow NXT that much, so I don't know who they're going to call up. I mean, probably Joe Hendry, I would say. I assume he gets a spot on the roster. Um, I would like to see them push LA Knight finally, but knowing him, he's going to be a jobber, and everybody says this. So
Yeah, safe to say. I think that the mid card definitely needs to be better for Raw. I mean, there has been steps towards that, I guess, with Dragon Lee and um Penta, holding up the IC Championship division over there. You have Dominic, I suppose, and Finn Balor. That's an interesting kind of mid card feud, I guess. But I just hope that we continue on the road to breaking up the Judgment Day and kind of producing some more interesting mid card angles, especially since NXT exists and you can call up some people. And of course Obafemi, the future is kind of bright for the guy considering he's being pushed. Hopefully he wins against Brock, but you never know with this company. And yeah, I do hope that the mid card is better so that we can get some main event players kind of moved up from the mid card in the rest of the year, along with the existing mid card players. Like Rusev's not even on TV. Like, what are you doing with him? But you know, that's you never know what this company might do come rest of the year. But we can only predict what they can do. Excuse me, kind of tongue twister there. This is a show, as you may know, where we predict the next episode of Monday Night Raw, and we do it according to these rules. In case you've been living under a rock, and after that, we basically watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw as it airs, and we score our predictions and bookings that we tell you on the show based on this scoring system, which is also going to change after WrestleMania. I think we need a bit of an overhaul on the scoring system. So there will be a new scoring system come after WrestleMania, I guess, is the sort of thing about that. And then we basically tell you what we got for our predictions and bookings on the next episode of the show. So let's take a look at the scores. I have 12 points, and it's just appearances. I got Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, J.D. McDonough, Penta, Gunther, Seth Rollins, Lyra Valkyria, and Bailey, as well as the Irresistible Forces making an appearance on the show. I did not get any winners or any matches predicted correctly, so kind of a bit of a shame there, but you just gotta take what you can get. What about you, Mike?
yeah, I got 10 points, mostly from the LA Knight Austin Theory Vision Showdown. I got 4 points from that. I got appearances from the Irresistible Forces, Lyra Valkyria and Bailey, the Bella Twins, and the other tag team, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. I had appearances from Dominic Mysterio, McDonough, Penta, Finn Balor, and CM Punk, who I think was he announced?
JD?
No, CM Punk.
I don't think
I don't
so.
think. Yeah, I don't think.
I don't
so.
think so. No. Yeah. Um. Quite. It's kind of predictable because you kind of know who's going in the show depending on what the matches are at WrestleMania anyway. So yeah, it's kind of obvious what the points are going to be. But anyway, we will roll on, I guess, to finish off the season. So what is announced on the next show? I don't think there's anything, unless I missed something, but I don't think there was anything announced. So without further ado, let's book this thing and get to my version of the show first as Division head to the ring. Logan Paul and Austin Theory come out. They talk about the 6-man tag team match against the Usos and LA Knight at WrestleMania. Logan says that he and Austin Theory will stomp all over LA Knight and his boys, the Usos, because they have IShowSpeed at their side. People may not know what IShowSpeed can do in the ring, but come WrestleMania, everyone will know his name. And they're going to put a stop to the Usos and their tag team title reign, just like how Brock Lesnar is going to put a stop to Obafemi's unchecked dominance at WrestleMania. They're then stopped by the Usos, who tell them that Jimmy and Jey are tag team champs for a reason, because they're better than Division in every way. At WrestleMania, the Usos and their friend LA Knight will yeet all over stop Division and send them to irrelevancy. The Usos and Division will get the Usos and Division get on a brawl, and the Usos seem to be winning, but out of nowhere comes IShowSpeed. He intervenes in the brawl, but he is stopped by LA Knight, and before LA Knight can land a move or a punch on IShowSpeed, Adam Pearce comes out. He announces a match later tonight between LA Knight and Logan Paul. And we'll follow up on that later on the show. So, as for, I think, who wins the 6-man tag, I kind of don't care. But I think it's going to be the Usos and LA Knight. That's what I'm leaning towards. But I'm kind of more interested on what they do with IShowSpeed in the ring more than who wins. So, I guess take that as my opinion on this whole feud. So, there you go. Charlotte Flair versus Nikki Bella is up next. This is to build up the Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania. I will have Nikki Bella win by pinfall. After the match, the Bella Twins beat up Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, but are interrupted by the Irresistible Forces, who come down to the ring to beat up Charlotte and Alexa. But Charlotte and Alexa are saved by Lyra Valkyria and Bayley, who come down the ring and causes a giant brawl between all 4 teams. They all brawl around the ring until the Irresistible Forces are on top, raising their titles as the segment ends. So I'm still sticking with Lyra and Bayley. I think it looks like they're being pushed for the title to me. And I would rather, again, let me just reiterate this for the 500th time. I would rather have them have the titles than the boring Irresistible Forces or the irritating Bella Twins. All right, let me just say that. I think they would make better champions than either of the heel teams here. If it was Charlotte and Alexa, I guess you could also put it on them, just for the name recognition, but I'm leaning on Lyra and Bayley because I think they need it more than Charlotte and Alexa. So, there you go. Roxanne Perez takes on Stephanie Vecchare up next, and Roxanne is accompanied by Raquel and Liv. This is a bit of a copy-paste from last week, so I will just say that Stephanie Vecchare wins by pinfall. After the match, Liv and Raquel go to the ring to beat up Stephanie Vecchare. Liv takes her title, and she raises it up to her and the folks in the stadium, and throws it back to Stephanie and leaves the ring. So I think Liv Morgan will win that match, and hopefully I think she does. So there you go. Dominic Mysterio comes out next. He comes out with as JD McDonough of the Judgment Day. He says that he saw what Finn Balor had to say last week, and he says that he ain't scared of the Demon. The Demon is just like Finn Balor, an overrated, under-talented wrestler that doesn't match up to the greatest Mysterio, the greatest luchador alive, walking the planet. He says he will prove that the Demon is just a gimmick, one that hides Finn Balor's lack of talent and personality in the ring. And when he faces him at WrestleMania, he will reveal that weakness, while Dom continues to prove why he is still the best Mysterio, nay, the best luchador alive. The lights suddenly go down, the sound of a heartbeat starts playing, and a video plays where Finn Balor asks Dom if he hears that sound. He then says that is what his heart will sound like come WrestleMania, when all of Dom's sins and vices are finally extinguished to the world, when he exchanges his soul to the Demon. He's coming, Dom. Finn concludes, the only thing you can do is catch your breath. The lights come back up, and Dom and JD are just, they're getting a little bit scared of the demon, but he laughs it off and leaves the ring. I hope Finn Balor wins the feud with the whole demon thing, but I feel like this is just the beginning of the feud. I think eventually JD McDonough will sort of be integrated into this feud, and that's when you have the Judgment Day kind of start breaking apart with this whole conflict between Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor. So, yeah, that's a match I'm kind of anticipating in Mania, because Cody versus Randy is now terrible. So, this is probably my most anticipated feud. So, there we go, I guess. Io Sky takes on Kairi Sane. This is due to what happened last week on Raw. I will have Kairi Sane win by pinfall due to a distraction from Michin and BFAB, on Io Sky. After the match, Asuka congratulates Kairi on the win, and they both celebrate. Meanwhile, Michin and BFAB continue to beat up Io Sky, but Io is saved by Rhea Ripley, who comes down with a chair to force Michin and BFAB out of the ring. They do leave, but Rhea is attacked from behind by Jade Cargill, who easily executes Jaded on Rhea. Jade raises the title to her and the audience and leaves as the segment ends. So, I don't know, man. At this point, I want this feud to end. And at WrestleMania, I hope Jade loses it to Rhea. I know it causes a bit of a rift between Io and Rhea here if Rhea wins, but I think that having Jade have sort of a stranglehold on this women's championship over on SmackDown is just downgrading the division even further. So I hope Rhea does win, and I think this will advance the whole storyline between Io Sky and Rhea Ripley as we come to the rest of the year. So that's what I will do, and I hope that's what happens. So we'll move on to Logan Paul takes on LA Knight. This is to build up the 6-man tag team match at WrestleMania, which includes IShowSpeed, although you probably know that already, considering you probably heard the opening segment. Logan Paul rolls up LA Knight for the win after a distraction from IShowSpeed on LA Knight succeeds. After the match, the Vision beat down LA Knight, while IShowSpeed just stands there smiling. I don't know. We'll just have the IShowSpeed guy kind of just standing there. LA Knight is saved by the Usos, who come down to the ring and join the brawl until IShowSpeed is left in the ring. LA Knight gets back up. IShowSpeed screams out for help. He screams for Logan and Austin Theory to come out and help him, but he gets BFT'd by LA Knight. And just like I said earlier, I honestly don't care who wins the match, but I am kind of interested on how IShowSpeed does and whether or not he takes this as seriously as Logan Paul. So, yeah. I'm now more interested in IShowSpeed than the wrestlers. How does that improve the product in any way? I am not quite sure. But there you go. CM Punk ends the show. He comes out. He basically cuts the same promo as last week, while also stating once again that Roman Reigns is not in the building this week. The only reason why he's not in the building is because he is scared of an old man beating his ass once again, like what Punk did to him weeks ago. That'll be the same amount of beating Roman will get at WrestleMania and more, and when the referee counts to 3 and he raises Punk's hand, the only thing Roman will do will be to acknowledge him. Roman Reigns finally comes out, but when he receives a mic, he bumps it on Punk's head and initiates a brawl with CM Punk. We have security starting to pour out to separate them while they brawl around the ring and into the backstage area. Roman Reigns is on top at the end of this brawl. He gets the title, he smiles, tosses it down to Punk, and leaves the arena as security check on Punk, and the show goes off the air. I know this makes it seem like Punk is retaining, but I am sticking to Roman Reigns here winning against CM Punk. I think that is what will happen, and CM Punk can, I guess, go on against the Usos or something like that. Some other storylines, maybe help out Finn Balor. Kind of go on his own, as I said earlier. or on other episodes of the show. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns will continue to, hold the title up until, when someone will sort of take the title off of him that is deemed significant, someone who can sort of hold down the main event division. Maybe a Gunther again, or someone else, who knows? But there you go. Any questions?
So, do you think they're going to end this main event? They're going to, intertwine the sort of jabbing outside of kayfabe at TKO into this storyline here, or you think they're going to keep that for Cody and Randy?
So I think that Punk's promo last week was just more because Cody is his friend. And Punk looks out for his buddies. It's kind of exemplified by him and the Usos, right? So I think that was more about Punk looking out for his friend and kind of saying, I side with Cody because he's my friend. I supported Cody. So, I am not going to go up against Cody on any of his stances regarding what is happening right now. So I think that promo from him last week was just to kind of reiterate the points that Cody said and to confirm that he allies with Cody. More so than, trying to instigate some sort of TKO meddling into the feud between Roman and Punk. Because I think Roman and Punk are kind of like two guys who, they generate a lot of money for TKO. Okay, they're kind of bankable guys. They're big names, right? I don't think TKO is going to meddle in that business. Whereas Cody Rhodes, I'm kind of convinced that someone in the company has a hate boner for Cody or something like that. Which is why we have consistently year over year someone trying to screw over Cody Rhodes, and it's a celebrity. So I think the whole TKO meddling is more for Randy versus Cody than Punk versus Roman. And I think that feud is just more about Roman and Punk kind of hating each other. Just because of, honestly, it's what Cody versus Cody versus Randy should have been, honestly. If you think about it, Punk versus Roman is what Cody versus Randy should have been. Like that's what it should have been. Just two guys hitting each other. We have some sort of brawl spots here and there. Maybe get a little personal. Punk saying that he's gonna bury him next to his dad. Stuff like that. Like that's what Cody versus Randy should have been. But unfortunately, TKO has to meddle in their business, and that this is what happens. So, yeah, the whole stuff about TKO, it's not going to be on this feud. It's going to be on Cody versus Randy. So, unfortunate as it is, I think that's what it's going to be.
Okay. As far as the Raw matches in Mania go, you said that you think Roman is winning this one. So who do you think wins the women's IC title, and who wins the men's IC title?
For the women, I think Becky wins it back. For the men's, I'm still leaning towards Rusev, I think. Just to get him on TV. Like, I don't know what you're doing with Rusev at this point. Why are you?
He's been on main event and Speed, bro. That's what he's been.
Oh my god.
You don't watch main event and Speed? I didn't even know main event was a thing. Like, I just see that I looked on Cage Match and I was like, what is this main event thing?
Yeah, even like how they announced the guys that are going to be on that Intercontinental Championship match, they're like, hey, these people won a match at main event. And I'm like, what? What? Seriously? That's the entry point for the Intercontinental Championship for the men? Just winning a match in in like a C-level show called Main Event? Really?
Is it like a house show type deal? Like, what is
Is
main event?
I think Main Event is like a syndicated kind of show. They kind of license it out to other countries. So I think other countries, out in the world, focus on main event more so than the US. So in the US, they kind of treat it like a C-level show, and on other countries, they kind of treat it as, I think, a recap show, and then they toss in some, I don't know, like C-level matches or something like that are not storyline driven, and it's just like, hey, here's some two guys wrestling, I guess. Here you go. So it's more for like syndication out to other countries, more so than the US, if that makes any sense. So it's more for like the foreign networks than
Okay, yeah. So it
yeah.
looks like it's a taped, like a pre-show taped. So it's almost like so it's almost like a what was it? What they used to tape before?
Heat. It's like a Sunday night heat, I
Yeah,
guess.
like a Sunday Night Heat type of thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm sure. I guess that gives people something to do. Whatever. Um.
Yeah, they're kind of like unnecessary, inconsequential shows. So for them to turn around and be like, "Yo, these guys won a match at main event. That's what qualifies them for this match." It's just like, what?
You have a 3 hour show. Like, what are you doing on this 3 hour show that you can't book matches for a ladder match
I
at WrestleMania? Like if you look at what we had, like last week on Raw or the last couple weeks on Raw, like you're telling me you couldn't slip in a couple of matches, you know? Like let me look at what we had a couple last couple weeks. I don't know if there's a good way to view. Let's see. Okay. So if you look at, what happened last week, right? This doesn't have a good fucking. Okay. I will go to Reddit because Reddit has a good They have a little table that breaks it down for you, which is nice. So last week we had Rhea and Io going up against Michin and BFAB again. Then we had Javon Evans, Penta, and Dragon Lee going up against the Americanos. You had Bailey and Lyra going up against Flash and Naya, and then you had Austin Theory versus LA Knight. Okay. What if we take one from, let's say, March? Like, let's do March in the last month. All right, let's do March. Let's do March 16th. This is a month ago. All right. We had Natalia versus Maxine Dupree. We had another Americanos fight. We had AJ Lee versus Bailey, and we had Penta and Dragon Lee. So you're telling me you couldn't replace one of those with, like Javon Evans versus someone else for
No,
a spot? No.
we can't do that. No, let's
Okay.
reserve it for main event too. That will make the fans cheer for the specific wrestler that I'm gonna push. I don't know. I think it's like, yeah. I guess they want to make the mid card kind of more interesting on Raw, week to week consistently. So that's why they keep booking the same matches. But like, yeah, I do agree with you. Like they can set the time because they're on Netflix. So why not just have some sort of reasoning, or at least some sort of qualification for entering that match at WrestleMania? But I guess not. So I don't know. It's yeah, I really think they should have treated it like the Money in the Bank kind of like qualifying match. So I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I guess any other questions before we move on to your card?
I know I'm ready for my card. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to your card. Starting off with
We have a Brock Lesnar promo. So he comes out with Paul Heyman, the Heyman, and Paul says his usual stick about Brock, hyping him up against Obafemi, and they are interrupted by Adam Pearce. So Adam Pearce comes down to the ring, and he says, "Listen, buddy, you didn't sign the contract last week." He said, "I don't think they did because they got into a brawl, and then security separated them, and nothing got signed." So Adam Pearce says Oba already signed it, at an earlier time. So I need you to sign this contract to make the match official. Lesnar sort of hesitates a little bit. I think they're trying to play this angle where he's like secretly hesitant about fighting Oba because he doesn't know. He doesn't think Oba's like his biggest opponent he's faced yet. He's like one of the only guys who's been able to really give him a run for his money. But he signs it eventually, and they are both interrupted by Gunther, who comes down to the ring. So Gunther apparently has a favor from Paul Heyman. So now Paul Heyman is involved with 8 people at this point. Actually, yeah, 8, because you have the Vision plus IShowSpeed, then you have Gunther, and you have Brock Lesnar. So why they haven't put Brock in the Vision, I don't know. It would make sense, but whatever. So Gunther comes into the ring, and he wishes Brock Lesnar luck in his match. He says that he is looking forward to seeing his match with Obafemi, and maybe eventually being able to take on Brock Lesnar himself one day. I think that they're teasing a Brock Lesnar retirement match, maybe at SummerSlam against Gunther. I think that's the favor that Paul Heyman has given to Gunther. So then Seth comes into the ring to ambush Paul Heyman and Gunther. Both of them manage to eliminate Seth from the ring, but then Obafemi comes in to even the odds. Oba is able to push Gunther out of the ring, but Brock takes advantage of him being distracted and is able to lay him out. I think the clear push here is that Oba goes over at Mania. I think that this leads to a retirement angle similar to John Cena, where Brock sort of has this like, not can I actually win a match, more of if I can't win another match, then I'm toast. I'm cooked, chat, for real. So that I think is the play here. And honestly, not bad. For a guy like Brock, who is an ultra competitor, I think having that kind of storyline makes sense. So, and him versus Gunther would be a very interesting match.
It would, yeah. It's kind of interesting how you would sort of tease that even before they're. I guess you're gonna. Yeah, you mentioned SummerSlam, so yeah, kind of interesting how you would start the build like right then and there. Like that's. I would imagine it would happen after WrestleMania, but yeah, I guess that's fine. I guess my question is, you don't think Brock Lesnar is gonna crash out after after his loss? I guess you're predicting his loss to Oba, so you don't think he's going to crash out, like throw things around and start chaos?
I don't know, like in kayfabe or in reality.
Oh, in kayfabe.
Okay, kayfabe. All right. Yeah, maybe. I can see him doing that a little bit, maybe to keep him looking a little bit strong afterwards. In reality, I mean, I've looked at a number of articles and stuff, and I don't think that Brock is as Hogan-ish as people think he is. I think he definitely has the want to put people over if he thinks they deserve it. I think that he's pretty much fine with putting Oba over, especially if he's on the way out. I mean, the man just wants to go home and grill on his like 10-acre farm, and honestly, same TBH. So
Yeah, he wants to be in Saskatchewan. Just getting that meat. Just get that meat for sure. All right. That makes sense. We'll move on from that too.
Kairi Sane versus Io Sky. So, I think this happens because they are teasing a match in the very near future between Io Sky and Asuka. I think what happens here is Io is forced to go fight. Kairi is forced to go fight Io in the ring. She reluctantly does, and then Asuka steps in because she thinks that Kairi isn't doing a good enough job, and Io wins via DQ. Rhea comes down to the ring to save her at the last minute, but then she is attacked by Jade. Again, is this overbooked? Yes, it is, but you have to remember this is a go-home show. So we need to get everybody in because, it's the last boat out of here. So why do we have this going on here? I think, according to reports, that Nikki Bella is not like 100% cleared for Mania yet. So this could go either way. I think the report is that if she is not cleared, the replacement for the Bella Twins in the Tag Team Women's Championship match is the Kabuki Warriors. And if that happens, then I think they push Asuka versus Io Sky to Backlash. If it doesn't happen, I can see Asuka versus Io Sky either happening on SmackDown on the Go Home show or happening at Mania as a last minute match. Now, the cards have already been published. They were put up on ESPN, so I don't think it's going to be the latter because they already sent it to ESPN, and I mean, who gives a fuck about ESPN at this point? That relationship is might as well be dead. It's pretty bad. But I think they're going to go with the former. I think that at this point they've had a lot of last minute changes with Gunther and Seth Rollins and then Rey Mysterio coming back. So I think at this point they're like, you know what, we're locked in. It is what it is. We'll get through it and then we'll reset after Mania. And we'll get back to pushing, making coherent storylines. Hopefully, so I think that this happens. That the Asuka versus Io Sky happens at Backlash. So there you go.
Did someone say coherent? Let me put on Ronda Rousey on the phone. Or a female equivalent of Pat McAfee on the phone. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. I would hope that you kind of stuck to who you think was going to win there on the Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania. So I guess the question is, they've kind of been teasing this whole Asuka and Kairi Sane kind of breakup. I guess, is this even happening at WrestleMania? Or is this even happening maybe later this year? I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is going to happen at Backlash. I'm 90% sure that's the plan. This could happen at Mania if they book this match Asuka versus Io Sky last minute. But I don't think they will because, like I said, they already put the cards out there. 13 matches. I'm pretty sure that we're set. We're good to go. There's nothing else that's going to be updated. Maybe a stipulation or two will get updated, but I don't think we're going to have any more matches. At the very least, this could happen on Friday on the Go Home show. Possibly, which to me, it's very criminal almost that you have one of your former champions not even showing up to fucking WrestleMania yet we have the audacity to put IShowSpeed on a match, and one of your former women's champions is not even anywhere to be seen. That doesn't make much sense to me, but
that's good booking right there.
Here we are, whatever. So yeah, I think this happens at Backlash unless the Bella Twins are good to go, in which there may be a chance that this gets booked last minute. And I mean last minute. So
yeah. Okay. All right. We'll move on from that to.
We have a mask versus mask match. So this is been teased for a while, and again, this is another one that should have happened at Mania, but instead we're getting IShowSlop versus LA Knight and the Usos. So, and we're getting Cody Rhodes versus Randy. Sorry, we're getting Jelly Roll versus Pat McAfee featuring Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. So, this I think needs to happen. I could see this happening in AAA, but it's WrestleMania week. They need to go all out, and I think they might pull this off because they need a bit of hype going into this, and they also typically use WrestleMania week to build up support for their other shows like NXT. They usually have a big NXT show around the same time as well. So and also, it is a go-home show, so you usually don't have the main stars for the PLE being on the show, actually in ring action, and giving that it's WrestleMania and like half the fucking roster is in action. You need a lot of the mid-carders to step up and deliver some matches. So I think that this is a perfect time for them to pull this out. Do I think it'll happen? I'd say it's 50-50, honestly. This could happen in AAA. But if this does happen on Raw, I think El Grande Americano takes the win because he is uber over in AAA, and it would be a massive mistake for them to remove him from AAA. I think that putting Chad Gable back into the main roster, putting him in the mid-card, is probably the better play here. And I think that his time as the OG El Grande Americano is up because, unfortunately, Kaiser has done a much better job as El Grande Americano than Chad Gable. So
I agree. I also considered putting this on my card. However, I feel like the AAA audience is more receptive to this than the regular WWE Raw audience, so I decided not to put it on my card. And I feel like this match is probably better suited for AAA than a WrestleMania. I know that WrestleMania is kind of like bigger than Triple Mania over on AAA side, but I feel like this is more suited for the AAA kind of angle than a WWE type of angle, which I mean it kind of sucks, but it feels much better suited for that audience that likes lucha libre than professional wrestling. So there you go. I guess is my reasoning for that. So since you're predicting that El Grande Americano wins this one, where would you put Chad Gable in? Would you have him partner up with Cody? Would you have him, I guess, put a tag team? Like, would you reform American Made? Like, where would you put, I guess, Chad Gable now that you're planning to take the mask off of the OG El Grande Americano here?
I would have said he would have went with Cody, but at this point, I don't know because of how fucked Cody's match storyline has gone.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'll probably just mire in the mid card for a little bit. I think if anything, that Cody probably turns heel at Backlash because once he gets Jelly Roll off of him, he can finally turn heel. Hopefully. So
Okay. All right. Yeah, I would also kind of be interested in what they have planned for Chad Gable once the whole mask versus mask charade is done. But I don't know. I don't have too much high hopes considering what they've done to Cody and all of that stuff on Ross. Even though the Cody stuff is on SmackDown, but you get my point. But we'll move on from that too.
We have a Dominic Mysterio promo. So Dom comes out with JD in tow. He calls out Finn for saying he's bringing back, he already said he's bringing back the demon. Well, the demon is washed up. No one's seen him in years. Honestly, he thinks that Finn doesn't even have it anymore. Finn comes out in a demon t-shirt, not in like his full costume. And he says, you know what, Dom? I've had it with you, thinking that you're the shit and you own everything, basically calling him a pompous little dick, putting himself over in the process as well. And the whole purpose of Finn coming out is to say that the stipulation for their match is a Hell in a Cell match. The
Whoa.
last match at Mania that the Demon had is a Hell in a Cell, so I think that this is appropriate for him. And if you look at the card right now, we have a lot of just regular plain matches. We have a lot of like no stipulation except for the ladder match. Everything else is basically plain or by default a no disqualification. So I think we need to add a little bit of spice into this. I think they're going to do that with this match or possibly the Vaquer versus Liv match, depending on how injured Liv is, apparently. So I think this is perfect because, Finn is been in a Hell in a Cell match before. This is the kind of match that sort of needs a Hell in a Cell. Given that these two were friends before and now Finn is like turning on them or whatever. So I definitely expect them to start announcing some stipulations for matches at Mania. I think this is a good candidate for one.
Yeah, for sure. I think that Hell in a Cell match that last time was against Edge, and Edge won that one. So not trying to predict the match or anything, but do you think Dom wins this one, or do you think Finn wins this match? And do you consider the possibility of the feud kind of extending, or would you have this sort of the end all be all for this feud?
I think that this feud is probably going to continue maybe into Backlash, depending on how good this match is. I could see Dominic winning here. I could even see the reverse happening where they have a regular match, Dominic wins, and then Finn forces a Hell in a Cell at Backlash. But I think that this is hopefully a way for them to push Finn up the card a little bit because he definitely can do it. And seeing how they currently don't have a whole lot of main event people, upper card people on Raw right now. It's really just CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I think it could be interesting to have Finn out there. So
Yeah, honestly, I would definitely take the Hell in a Cell match at Backlash approach and just have it be a regular match to start with. I do like that idea, but yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what goes after that at Mania. Hopefully, the match is good as you said. Um, yeah, again, this is one of my sort of anticipated feuds because they fucked up Randy versus Cody, so I guess this will have to do. But anyway, we'll move on from that too.
Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. So I think this is just a preview of the tag team match at Mania. The Vision attempt interference with IShowSpeed, but LA Knight comes down to put IShowSpeed through the announce table or something like that. I don't know. And then Jey Uso manages to pick up the win. I was going to have this originally be like a match to determine a stipulation, but given that it's already a triple threat tag team match, I don't think there needs to be since it's already DQ. We already have another ladder match on the show. So there you go. Honestly, again, since we're going over, this season, I guess, of Raw, I have to honestly give props to Logan Paul for managing to carry this Vision storyline through the fucking dregs that it has been carried through.
Okay.
I think he came in sort of as a side character, and by just sheer process of elimination has had to now carry this faction on his back with Austin Theory.
That's crazy.
And he has done at least about as good of a job as you could have asked him to do, given the situation. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. I think Logan Paul has taken on that role pretty well. Even before that, like, I thought Logan Paul wouldn't take all of this seriously, but I guess he is, and I guess that's a good thing, I guess. I guess the question is, do you have any predictions for I guess IShowSpeed or what they have planned for him. Are you even interested in this match? I guess like. Would you see another Vision versus Usos title match after this at Backlash, or like where do you think?
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I could definitely see maybe Braun Breaker returning at Mania. I mean, it sounds like he's cleared, but probably not cleared enough or cleared in enough time for the set up a match. So I could see him definitely interfering in this match, costing the Usos the loss, and then having a match set up at Backlash to win it back. Um, yeah,
okay, fair enough. We'll move on from that to the main event, which is
a Roman Reigns promo. So Roman comes out to the ring and goes over what CM Punk said last week. He said that, some of that is true. Some of what CM Punk said is true. But he says that even though Punk said some stuff that was true, including that Roman, has family in the business, he has connections throughout this industry. Um, he says that's how this business works. You have to have friends to back you up in situations, and that's the reason that Punk has been bouncing around between companies is because he doesn't have any friends, and all of his friends that he does make, he usually turns on them, and that gets CM Punk to come out. So Roman continues to confront him, saying, hey, that's why you left in the first place. That's why you had to come back, because you ran out of friends. And he says that the reason that the weird old man that CM Punk was talking about last week chose him over Punk is because Roman Reigns is better and Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. And this ends with CM Punk coming out or coming after him. A brawl ensues. I think that CM Punk manages to get the better of him again. Not throwing him through a table, but maybe like manage to hit him with the belt or something. And I definitely think that Roman is going over at Mania. So there you go.
nice. Okay, I guess where do you think Punk goes from here after the loss to Roman? Do you think he helps out
Uh,
Finn? Do you think he?
Saudi
Yep.
Arabia. No.
Is he gonna go on an apology tour in Saudi Arabia where
I
he
love the
goes to
crowd's reaction on Friday to that, to fucking to that back and be calling him out. I was like, I would have been like, damn, he really called it out, huh?
yeah.
I think that Punk probably takes a couple of months. He's been on the road now for, I think, since SummerSlam, right? Is when he won it.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Um, so I think, when did he win? Who was it before him? Was Gunther? Yeah, it was Gunther.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think
think
it
he
was
won
Gunther,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's had it for a couple months now. So I think that I think he carries it.
Um,
Sorry.
hold on. I think it
Yeah,
was Seth
can you
because
check? Oh yeah, it was
I think it
Seth.
was
That's
Seth, yeah.
right. Yeah, it was Seth, and then Seth got injured, so he had to relinquish it, and then it was CM Punk versus Gunther for the title, and then CM Punk won it at some pay per view that
Yep.
I am now blanking on. Um, and I think goes away for a couple months, comes back as a heel to cost Roman the title match at some point, maybe to Gunther, maybe to, God forbid, Jey Uso again. Um, and yeah,
I would love to see what a heel Punk would be today. Maybe leaning into the whole corporate shtick, you know? He starts being like fucking for the corporation or whatever. I would love to see that kind of version of Punk where he's no longer a punk. He's just like he's speaking for the corporations, like a corporate punk, you know. But yeah, it would be nice for him to sort of yeah, it would be nice for him to sort of go into a bit of a hiatus and kind of rethink things a little bit and bring him back on when the storyline needs it. So I will agree on that. But anyway, that is what we got for the next episode of Monday Night Raw. As I stated earlier, we are going to watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw as it airs, and we will score our predictions and bookings that we just told you on this show, and we will tell you what we got on the next episode of this show. I'm not sure when this returns. Maybe after WrestleMania, I guess, or some other time. But until that happens, thank you so much for watching. Probably next week on Raw for the past year or so, and I hope you enjoyed the ride. And if you want more crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos.